Being too large, psychologically speaking. Good morning. This is Shores Infinity with your host Chris speaking about a psychological topic, being too large. What does this mean, too large? It does not mean bodily, physically too large. But what is psychologically too large? Too big, too tall? If you are treated like an adult too early in your childhood for some reason, for example, your mother is sick and you have to take care of her instead of her of you, or your parents are separated, or your father is not much at home, or one of your parents, and then usually it's still the father, he is absent or mostly absent, not much at home, and sometimes the mothers elevate the child to the position of an adult. She sometimes treats the child as if it were an adult, talks to her in that way, forces the child to make decisions, or complains about the husband or ex-husband. Or the two parents are quarreling all the time, and then when they are alone with the child, they complain about the other parent to the child. Or you have a lot of siblings and you're kind of the go-to mother for the other sisters and brothers because you're the oldest. The surrogate mother, so to say, because the real mother has to work all the time, has 3 jobs maybe. Sometimes this is even passed on from generation to generation. In every generation there's one child usually who is either being treated as an adult or has to, without anyone asking it, has to fulfill the role of an adult too early. This is overwhelming. A child cannot make the decisions for an adult or as well as an adult, unless there is no other possibility. If there is a vacuum, then the child will step in. It will save its parents, it will save its siblings. And that is being too large. It steps into shoes that are too large, too big. It steps into a role that is meant for a grown-up. And thus has to grow up too quickly, prematurely. In family constellation therapy, this is called being too large. And this will cause problems later, not in childhood, maybe not even during teenager times, but possibly, but definitely as an adult, because you're used to doing too much. You're used to overstep boundaries. You're used to not feel boundaries. You're used to being the one who does everything. You're used to being the one who steps in and does the work for the others, asked or not asked to do so. For example, this can lead to burnout. This can lead to all kinds of other things. It leads to being overwhelmed all the time, not knowing why, and at the same time doing too much. You are capable of doing a lot. A lot. More than others, probably, but you're expending too much energy doing so. It can and often will lead to all kinds of psychological problems later on. It can also lead to a caretaker syndrome, that you're later a caretaker or codependent, or any other personality disorder. It can be, it doesn't have to. But it generally means that your guardian, the guardian who has made it possible for you to act as an adult, like an adult, although you were only a child, has become a guard. There's a difference between guardian and guard. A guardian is someone who protects you. A guard is someone who imprisons you. So you're longing for freedom. You're longing for freedom and you can't find it. You don't know what the problem is. Because for you, doing too much is your second nature. You can't feel it anymore, like a fish in water. The way to solve this is, of course, to go back into your childhood with a therapist and have a look. Why did this happen? How did this happen? And then reconnect to your inner child or your inner children, and then stop doing shit for others. Start caring for yourself. Start putting yourself first. This is not egoistical. This is necessary. Because it is a skill that you haven't learned yet properly. You have to shrink. You have to become smaller. You have to become a child again and then develop a new kind of more natural adulthood in which you don't feel responsible for everything and everyone. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for joining me on Patreon. And thank you for those who have already joined me on Patreon. Like Angela, Topi, Revi, Gabriel, Sarah, Eric, Alan, Sam, Patrick, Brittany, Chris, Enda, Raghu, Robert, Brian, Björn, Mark, Patricia, Kelly, Goshen, Gregory, Alex, Marcus, Thomas, Alex, Tyler, Matthias, Carrie, Daniel, Gabriel, Kim, Rubina, Tamash, Chris, Andre, Ofi, Sayan, Bob, and Feike. Thank you very much.